Hari Om. Let's start with a prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadashi 10th chapter called Nataka Deepa Prakaranam, where Vidyaranya, after discussing exhaustively several aspects in the previous chapter, comes to looking at the Sakshi Chaitanyam, what exactly Sakshi Chaitanyam really means. So for that he takes the analogy of the Nataka Deepam. Nataka means the drama and Deepam is consciousness. So consciousness that is illumining the like a Deepam, the Natakam, the stage where the program is going on. So we have essentially the light which is stable, not moving, but at the same time there is the whole stage is there, the owner of the stage and the audience as well as the dancer on the stage, along with the orchestra that is required for the dance. So we have the several aspects that are being illumined by the Deepam, the light, and light itself doesn't do anything. It stays as it is, but without the light nothing can be seen. So the whole drama is going on and there is a participation by the dancer and the audience along with the orchestra, and also there is an owner who owns all that. So this is the picturization of the stage, and it is equated to what Sakshi does. Sakshi is like a Deepam and illumining the Natakam of the whole world that I am participating. So my life itself is like an Natakam. I am dancing on the stage of life stage, where I have to have the audience, and audience are reacting to my dance, and I am obviously excited and acting more and more. And along with that there is an orchestra that because of which I am dancing also. So all that is being, the Sakshi doesn't do it, but Sakshi illumining, that means I am conscious of the whole world. Consciousness doesn't do anything. When I say I am doing, who exactly is the doer and what exactly is the actions and all that are being analyzed here. We'll do the 12th sloka says, Ahankara dhiyam sakshi vishayanapi bhasayet ahankaradhya bhavepi swayam bhacheva purvavatu. So if you want to style, ahankaram dhiyam sakshi vishayanapi bhasayet ahankaradhya bhavepi swayam bhacheva purvavatu. So sakshi, ahankara, that is to the jiva, dhiyam, to the intellect, as though vishayan, the objects, and bhasayet, illumines the ahankara, and it illumines through the intellect itself, and also through the intellect the objects outside, and bhasayet, illumines ahankara, the jiva, etc. Abhave, also their absence also. So even in the stage, when the stage is going on, the dance program is going on, the light is illumining everything, the dancer, the audience, the orchestra, and the owner of that whole auditorium. But when they all leave, dance program is over, when they all leave, then the light still illumining, the absence of the dancer, the absence of the owner, the absence of the audience, and the absence of the orchestra. So the presence and the absence are being illumined by the light that is there. Same way, the Sakshi, like the light, so it itself does not do anything other than illumining. That is the whole point here. It illumines the ahankaram, the ego, the owner, who says I am the owner or I am the doer and so on. And that he is going to explain what are the components there. Vishayanapi, dhyam and the intellect. Vishayan, the objects, sense objects, abhi bhasayed. Ahankaradhya abhavepi, ahankaradi abhavepi, and even their absence of ahankara adi means ahankara, dhyam, vishayan api, and their abhavepi, that means their absence also is being dipyate. Swayam it's illumining, and swayam bhatcheva purvat. So it is swayam bhat, it is by itself is illumining itself everything else, but it is not need to be illumined by some other light also, and it continues to illuminate the presence or the absence of everything else, and it is eternally present in the Sakshi case. So therefore there is no other light to light this light, because it is a Jyotir Jyotihi, it lights even other lights also, and that's what being introduced as a Sakshi is similar to the illuminating light. Now we'll chant the 13th sloka. Nirantaram bhanumani bhasamani, nirantaram bhasamani, kutaste jñapi rupataha, kutaste jñapti rupataha, tadbhasa bhasamaniyam, tadbhasa bhasamaniyam, buddhihi nrutyatya nekadha, buddhihi nrutyatya nekadha. Together. Kutas nirantaram bhanumani, kutaste nirantaram bhasamani, kutaste jñapi rupataha, tadbhasa. So first thing is nirantaram bhasamani, kutaste jñapti rupataha, tadbhasa bhasamaniyam, buddhi nrutyatya nekadha. Kutaste bhasamani, kutaste bhasamani, due to the kutaste, due to the illumination of by the Sakshi Chaitanyam, means it is a light of consciousness. So it itself lights everything else. And tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. So I don't need to light it, because na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto vanti kutoya magnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. So I don't need to show. That's what in the arati they are doing, in the Vedic arati. They are doing the arati using a light and chanting this sloka. Says I don't need a sunlight to illumine you, nor the moonlight, nor the starlight, nor the electricity light. But how can I illumine this lamp that I am showing it? So it is nothing is needed, because you are the light of all lights, and in the showing, and at the same time he is showing the arati, and you, because of you, everything is lighted, means everything is illumined, maybe everything is known, everything that I become conscious of, because of that light of consciousness, that is Sakshi Chaitanyam. That is the original light. Everything else is borrowed light. So the original light is lighted. And interestingly, in the arati, when they do arati, there are two things that they do in olden days at least. They use a karpuram, and the karpuram and the light is using, there is a standard light which is all the time there. That is lighted when the Kumbhabhishekam occurred. That means when you invoke the Lord is all the time there. So the Lord is represented by the light there, because light of consciousness. And using that light only, you light everything else. So that is From that light you use other light and other lights also. Not you don't use a cigarette lighter to light it. So that light use, and Karpuram is used because when you are showing, Karpuram has smell. So it's a vasana. So, and when it burns, it doesn't leave anything because it evaporates. That's why people stop, because all the smoke becomes deposits of the black and all that. But the idea is that in the burning of the vasanas, you see the Lord inside. Upadrashtanumantacha bharta bhokta maheshwaraha paramatme chisabhyuktam. So it's the upadrashta. He's standing behind as the drashta, as the seer of all that. That means illuminator of all that. And here, nirantaram. Nirantaram means continuously, endlessly. That means it is eternal. Bhasamane kutaste, that which is always shining and illumining everything else. And how does it shine? It's jnapti rupataha, in the form of consciousness, because it is Satchit Anandam. And that is eternal because it is infinite. Only finite things go under deterioration. So it is avyayam. Vyayam means it undergoes decay. And it is avyayam, means it does not undergo any deterioration. And because it is infinite. Infinite cannot, only finite things can undergo deterioration, but not infinite. Therefore, when Kutastham is a pure Satchidananda, is what is Scripture says. This is why Scripture becomes a pramana, where it says not only existence is infinite from the existent point, even the consciousness is infinite. So this is very important, because other acharyas say in that infinity there are parts, and some parts are inert, that is Jagat, and Jagat Satyam, Jiva Satyam, Paramatma Satyam. But Jagat is inert, and in this they assume that it is illumined by consciousness, which is infinite. So it's infinite, but it's not there in the inert. So there is a little contradiction there. But even in Advaita we have a problem in one sense, because when we say it is infinite, at the same time we see inert things. So prajnanam Brahma, consciousness infinite. So when we see inert things, then how come it's not conscious entity? How can you say consciousness is infinite? It's only because even though consciousness is infinite, the inert objects are not able to reflect the consciousness, because they are not real. It appears to be, but in the appearance they are not able to reflect the consciousness because of the absence of a medium that can reflect. It's like the light has 7 colors, right? So Gayar or Vijayar. In the 7 colors of the white light, when it falls on the red object, because the object has a property of absorbing all other colors except red, because all other colors of the 6 colors are there, 6 colors are absorbed, leaving red, and therefore it appears to me red. The other one looks blue because its structure is such that it absorbs all other colors except blue. And there may be one which absorbs all other except red and blue. So I get a mixture colors. So all in between colors and everything is nothing but the 7 colors, of which some are absorbed and some are not. That nothing to do with the white light. It is something to do with the property of the material, the structure of the material, which has a capacity to absorb. And the black one absorbs all the colors, and the white one doesn't absorb any color. So this is what we need to understand, why the consciousness is not everywhere. We don't see it. We don't see it because the objects are do not have the capacity to reflect. Only for reflection of the consciousness we need a subtle material. Subtle material means this antakaranam, we call it. The buddhi has to be there, and buddhi can reflect the consciousness, and when the reflecting consciousness, it also appears to be conscious entity. Just as we said, as the moon is appearing to be luminous entity by reflecting the sunlight. Here it says Nirantaram Bhasamane, even though it is shining all the time because it's infinite. Kutaste, in the Jnapti Rupavatu, it is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So Jnanam is here consciousness. Rupavatu means it is Swarupavatu, it is its intrinsic nature. So Jnapti Rupataha. Tat Bhasa Abhasamaneyam. It illumines the objects which are present or absent. And so it essentially Tat Bhasa, by illuminating, by Sakshi, Bhasamane, having illumined, Anekada Nrutyati, Buddhihi Anekada Nrutyati. So having illumined the Buddhi, Buddhi now has a capacity to dance also. So it has a capacity to dance, and also it has a capacity to illumine other things also. This is called borrowed consciousness. Because of the reflection of the consciousness by its mere presence, it's not really doing anything. Mere presence of the light, everything, dance is going on the stage. The light has, you cannot blame, if the dance is not good, you cannot blame the light. Hey, why are you illumining the wrong dance or a bad dance? The light has nothing to do with the quality of the dance or the quality of the audience also, and also the nature of the owner also. But it illumines whatever it is there, and also their absence also is there when everybody leaves. In the same way, Buddhi is having the reflection of the consciousness, acts as though it is a conscious entity, and also dances, and the dancing of the Buddhi is also being illumined, and when there is a perturbation, that also being illumined. Perturbation is vrittis, or the thought that rises in the mind, also being illumined, because it's a subtle material. So constant illumination will be there, because Sakshi is always there, Nirantaram, all the time there. Buddhi can go to absent when it goes to deep sleep state. It folds itself as though the whole show is over for the time being, because Buddhi wants to take a rest. At that time also, it is illumining the absence of the everything also. So therefore, either the presence or the absence of the Buddhi is being illumined by the Sakshi. So Nirantaram Bhasamane Kutaste Jnapti Rupataha, in the form of the consciousness, it illumines everything. Tad bhasa abhasamaneyam. Tad bhasa and abhasamaneyam. Its presence and the absence of it. Buddhihi nrutyati anekadha. So it dances varieties of ways, and that's what is the Buddhi, and all that is illumined. And different Buddhis have different dances also. So in each equipment, in each body, there is a Buddhi, and the Buddhi of mine is different from Buddhi of others, and so on and so forth. And depending upon the Buddhi, whether it is capable to dance all the time or not, it can change also. So therefore, Buddhihi nrutyatyanekadha, anekada, in many ways it dances by Sakshi, which is nature of the Jnanam. So because it is a nature of the Jnana Rupata means it is the nature of consciousness. When the Buddhi dances, the one also becomes conscious of what it is doing also. So it's not only just the light, but it's not a normal light, it is a reflected light of consciousness. Therefore Buddhi has as though a borrowed consciousness, and therefore it is conscious of what it is doing also. And that's what it's implied here. Both the directly reflecting the Buddhi, illumining the Buddhi, and also via Buddhi all other things, including the mind and the body too. So all that is implied here in this sloka. I will do 14. Ahankaraha prabhu sabhya ahankaraha prabhu sabhya vishayanartaki matihi vishayanartaki matihi taladidharinyakshani taladidharinyakshani deepaha sakshava bhasakaha together ahankaraha prabhu sabhya vishayanartaki matihi taladidharinyakshanihi deepa sakshava bhasakaha. So ahankaraha, so what are the components in the, as the sakshi is illumining, and we have in the case of stage, so he is putting an analogy of the stage natakam, and in the case of sakshi, so in the natakam we have an owner of the whole stage, and there is an artaki, and there is an audience, and there is also the orchestra, and all the components are there. And there the Prabhu means the owner of the whole stage is here called, in the case of Sakshi, Ahankaraha Prabhu. The ego, Ahankara means he is the one owner. So the one owner is Ahankara means I am the one who owns this. And that notion arises in the buddhi itself. So in the buddhi, there are four components that occur, which is essentially the buddhi, that is intellect, and the manas, the mind, and ahankara, the ego, and chitta, the memory. So this is manobuddhya ahankara chittani naham. So in the Nirvana Shatakam, you all the four components based on the functions. So buddhi is intellect. Intellect has a capacity to discriminate what is right and what is wrong, what is correct and what's not correct, depending upon its education. Education means how the buddhi has been trained. So in the childhood, the mother teaches what is right and what's wrong, and the father teaches what's right and what's wrong. As the child goes up and he goes to school, the teacher also teaches, and also Vedas teach what is to be dharma and what is adharma. So the righteousness, so the student is evolving, the buddhi is evolving, and it has a discriminative capacity to know what is right and what is wrong. Even if I don't go to school, I will start learning what is right and what is wrong by my own life experiences. Life itself is the teacher. So life itself is the guru, and it teaches provided if I can learn it. So if I make a mistake, then I get burned, and from the burning I can know that I should not avoid. So by putting a finger into the fire, by mistake, then I know it is burning. The next time I won't put it, because now I know. So the buddhi evolves by experience, provided if I have the capacity to learn from the experiences. Otherwise I keep on doing the same mistake even though I know it's wrong. So that's why, because that's called habits form. So buddhi says don't do it. At the same time, the mind overrides. So that discriminative capacity is with the buddhi. The mind is the samshayatmikam manaha. It is a doubting thing. Is it this way or that way? Is it this way or that way? People have a lot of problems. Did I turn the stove on or not? Did I lock the door or not? This samshayam comes from the mind aspect. And the intellect says, yes, I did lock it, or I did turn off the stove. All this comes from the buddhi. So nischayatmikam buddhihi, samshayatmikam is the mind. And the knowledge takes place from the buddhi point, because it has a discriminative capacity to know what is right, what is wrong, and analyzes and differentiates, and that's how the knowledge takes place using the intellect only. Mind is called emotional center, love, compassion and all that. There is nothing to do discriminate there. It's because of emotional attachments comes from the mind. And you have buddhi and a mind. Ahankara is the ownership, who owns all these things, or it's a notion, real ownership, but mind thinks that I am a owner of this body, my intellect, it is my body. So mamakara comes from the buddhi only. That's called the ahankara. Ahamit abhidiyate. So I am this, I am this, I am this, and whole my biodata, who I am, all that comes from the ahankara. And who owns the knowledge also, that I know this, I don't know that, and so on. Ahankara. Then chitta. Chitta is memory. Means whatever the storage memory is constitutes chitta. So these are the 4 functions of the antakarana. And here is differentiating that ahankara and the components here. Ahankara is prabhu, is ego is owner. Vishayaha sabhyaha. Who are the audience? Audience are Vishaya, means the objects, the world, total world is the audience, because you are playing in the stage of the world. So they are to appreciate. So the whole, everybody comes under the Vishayas. And Vishayaha sabhyaha. The objects become audience. Matihi nartaki. So Matihi here is you can say either the mind or the intellect itself is nartaki, is a dancer. So nartaki, the buddhi is dancing to the tune also. So matihi nartaki, the intellect is dancer. Akshini taladi dharani. So akshini means here the senses, or the music, taladi dharani, are the musical instruments. So the 5 senses that have, therefore their orchestra consists of 5, the senses that go out and play the music, and that essentially is a musical instrument. Sakshi avabhasakaha deepaha. So Sakshi is the one that illumines, is a light that illumines the whole drama. So we have, just as on the Natakam, in the stage, the light is illumining the Prabhu, the owner, and the Nartaki, the dancer, and the audience, and the orchestra. Same way, we have the Sakshi illumining the owner, which is Ahankara, and the dancer being the Buddhi, and the Vishayas being the objects, and the sense organs becoming the instrument or the orchestra. So here is giving an analogy to Sakshi Chaitanyam to Deepa Chaitanyam. That's why it's called Nataka Deepa Prakaranam. So we'll read 15. Swastanas samstito deepaha. Swastanas samstito deepaha. Sarvato bhasayedyatha. Sarvato bhasayedyatha. Siraye tada sakshi. Siraye tada sakshi. Bahiranta prakashayet. Bahiranta prakashayet. Together. Swasthana samstito deepaha. Sarvato bhasayedyatha. Sirastayi tada sakshi. Bahiranta prakashayet. So yatha deepaha. Swasthana samstitaha, just as yatha deepaha, just as the light in the stage auditorium. Swasthana samstitaha, it is staying in swastha, in its own place, means it's not dancing all over. So swasthana samstitaha, staying in its own place wherever it is. Sarvataha, everything bhasayet, it is illumining everything that is there, even though it's not moving anywhere. By staying in one place, it is illumining everything. And sarvato bhasayet yatha, in the same way. Sirastayi tata sakshi. Sakshi not moving anywhere. It cannot move anywhere because it's infinite. Sirastayi, it is staying in one own place, its own place, just as the light. Bahihi antaha prakashayet. Bahiranta prakashayet. It is illumining the inside and outside. prakashayet. Illumining means one is become conscious of. That's how the illumination is, because it's a light of consciousness. It illumines inside and outside. What is inside and outside? He discussed that in the previous chapter. Outside is where the senses are going out and grasping the objects. So, as we said, according to the Mimamsa, which Advaita follows, is the mind goes out and along with the senses. Sorry. So, mind goes out along with the senses, and the respective senses grasp the respective attributes of the object. So it is called when it grasps, it forms a vritti in the mind. So it's called vritti vyapti. So for the mind going out, as it's going out, it's being illumined by the consciousness. So it's essentially consciousness with the mind is going, and the senses are able, because they are being illumined by the consciousness, and therefore it's a Pramana Chaitanya, Prameya Chaitanya, and the object is able to guess because the vritti is forming because of the grasping of the object. This is the Mimamsa theory, which Advaita accepts it in order to understand how perception occurs. Scientifically, we said that the light that falls on the object, the external light, that is reflected into my eyes, forming an image in my retina, and that is transmitted to the optical nervous system into brain as neurons, and that is transformed or decodified in terms by using a program code into software called thought. That's called vritti. All that is implied in one way or the other. Ultimately, vritti has to form. Vritti contents, the thought contents are nothing but the attributes of the object. So when it goes out of what? Out of the body. So out, inside and outside is reference to body, that he is going to tell in the next mantra, next sloka. So bahihi antaha means inside my mind itself I can recapitulate, and also when the object thought forms, and it's only a thought in the mind, but that has to be illumined by the consciousness, and when it illumines, that means consciousness joining with the thought for me to be conscious of the existence of the thought, therefore existence of the object outside. All that implied in the perception through the senses. Antaha means when it forms spontaneously, another thought rises called aham vritti, that I am a knower of this is a pot, this is a chair, this is a table. So this is a pot, this is a chair, this is a table is coming from the bahi, outside, but coming from the subject is spontaneously, because it's ever present, and that is illumines, and therefore I am conscious of existence of the thought, therefore conscious of the existence of the objects. So knowledge will take place, therefore there is a result called palavyapti. So the vritti vyapti and palavyapti is involved in the all objective knowledge. So that's what here bahiranta prakashayet. So both the outside and inside are being illumined by the sakshi. Just as the stage, on the stage, the inside the auditorium, and on the stage also inside the nartaki, both are being illumined by the same light. Now in the next mantra, he is talking about what is bahihi and what is antaha and so on, which we will take up in the next class. Thank you. We'll end up with the Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.